There comes a moment in your life when you realize that holding on is slowly breaking you, not in a loud, dramatic way that everyone can see, but in a quiet, invisible way that only you can feel, a slow emotional exhaustion that builds up over time, a heaviness that sits in your chest and follows you everywhere you go, even in moments that are supposed to feel peaceful. And the hardest part is that you don't always know how to explain it. You don't always know why it hurts the way it does. You just know that something is not right anymore. Something that once felt safe now feels heavy. Something that once brought you comfort now brings confusion. And even though you can see the change, even though you can feel that it's not the same anymore, you still hold on. Because your heart remembers what it used to be, your mind remembers the good moments, the hope, the meaning, the connection, and letting go of that feels like losing a part of yourself. Like letting go of something that once defined you, something that once gave your life a sense of direction. And that's why it's so hard, because you're not just letting go of a situation or a person or a moment. You're letting go of the version of you that existed within it. And that version of you, it mattered, it felt real, it felt important, and saying goodbye to it feels like closing a chapter that you weren't ready to close. But here's the truth that most people struggle to accept. Not everything that enters your life is meant to stay. Some things are meant to teach you, to shape you, to grow you. And once their purpose is fulfilled, they naturally begin to fade. They begin to feel different. They begin to lose the energy they once had. And holding on to them beyond that point only creates pain, only creates resistance, only keeps you stuck in a place that no longer supports your growth. And I know letting go feels like giving up. It feels like admitting defeat. It feels like accepting something you didn't want to accept. But letting go is not about giving up. It's about choosing yourself. It's about recognizing that your peace matters, that your growth matters, that your emotional well-being matters. And sometimes that means walking away from something that once felt right, but no longer is. And that takes courage. It takes strength. It takes a level of self-awareness that not everyone has. Because it's easier to stay. It's easier to hold on. It's easier to avoid the discomfort of change, but growth it requires change. It requires movement. It requires you to step into the unknown even when you're not fully ready, even when your heart is still trying to catch up with your mind. And I know that's where you are right now, somewhere between knowing you need to let go and still feeling attached, still feeling the pull of what used to be, still feeling the fear of what comes next. And that space, it's not easy, it's not comfortable, but it's necessary. Because it's the space where transformation begins. It's the space where you start to rebuild yourself, not based on what you lost, but based on who you are becoming. And even if you don't fully see it yet, even if it doesn't make sense right now, something inside you is shifting. Something inside you is preparing you for a different chapter, a chapter that requires you to release what no longer serves you so you can receive what truly aligns with you. And that process, it starts with letting go, even when it's hard, even when it hurts, even when it feels like you're stepping into something uncertain. Because sometimes the only way forward is to release what is holding you back. Healing is one of the most misunderstood processes you will ever go through, because people often expect it to be simple, to be linear, to be something that once you start, you gradually feel better every day. But that's not how it works. Healing is complex. It's unpredictable. It's filled with ups and downs, moments where you feel like you're making progress and moments where it feels like you're back at the beginning, like nothing has changed, like everything you worked on has disappeared. And that can be frustrating. That can make you question yourself, make you wonder if you're doing something wrong, if you're not strong enough, if you're not healing the right way. But the truth is, there is no perfect way to heal. There is no timeline. There is no exact formula. Healing is personal. It's different for everyone. And it requires patience, more patience than you think, because you are not just moving on from something. You are processing it, understanding it, integrating it into your life in a way that no longer controls you. And that takes time. It takes emotional energy. It takes a willingness to feel things that you would rather avoid. Because healing is not about ignoring pain. It's about facing it, understanding it, allowing it to exist without letting it define you. And that's where it becomes difficult, because facing your emotions is not easy. Sitting with your thoughts is not comfortable. Allowing yourself to feel sadness, anger, confusion, all at once, it can feel overwhelming. It can feel like too much, but that's part of the process. That's how you release what you've been carrying. That's how you free yourself from the weight of unprocessed emotions. And I know there are moments when you feel like you're breaking, like everything inside you is too heavy to handle, like you're losing control, but you're not breaking, you're opening. You're allowing yourself to feel what you've been holding inside for so long. And that's where healing begins, not in pretending you're okay, not in avoiding the pain, but in allowing yourself to feel it without judgment, without resistance, and slowly, step by step, you begin to understand yourself better. You begin to see your patterns, your triggers, your emotional responses, and that awareness, it gives you power. It gives you the ability to change, to grow, to respond differently, to choose differently, and over time. That's how healing happens, not all at once, but in small moments, small shifts, small realizations that gradually transform the way you think, the way you feel, the way you experience life. And even if it's slow, even if it doesn't feel like much, it matters. Every step matters. Every moment you choose to face your emotions instead of running from them matters. And eventually, you will look back and realize that you've come further than you thought, that you've grown in ways you didn't notice at the time, that you've become stronger, more aware, more resilient than before. Faith is not always something you feel strongly. It's not always a powerful, unwavering belief that everything will work out perfectly. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's uncertain. Sometimes it's just a small sense of hope that things can get better even when you don't see how, even when you don't understand the path you're on. And that kind of faith, it's real. It's enough. Because faith is not about having all the answers. It's about trusting even when you don't. It's about continuing even when things don't make sense. It's about believing that there is a purpose behind what you're going through, even if that purpose is not clear yet. And I know that's hard, especially when you've lost something important, when things didn't go the way you expected, when you're left with questions instead of answers. But sometimes what feels like loss is actually protection. Sometimes what feels like rejection is redirection. And you may not see it now, you may not understand it now, but one day you will. One day you will look back and realize that what you thought was the end was actually the beginning of something new, something better, something more aligned with who you are meant to be. And that's why faith is important, because it allows you to move forward without needing everything to be clear. It allows you to take steps even when the path is uncertain. It allows you to trust that even if things are falling apart right now, they may be coming together in a way you don't yet understand. And that trust, it gives you strength. It gives you the ability to keep going, to keep healing, to keep letting go, even when it's difficult, even when your mind is filled with doubt. Because faith doesn't eliminate doubt, it exists alongside it. It's the choice to move forward despite the uncertainty, and that choice, it's powerful. Letting go is not a one-time decision. It's a process, a repeated choice you have to make again and again, especially on the days when your mind goes back to the past, when your heart remembers what it used to feel like, when you feel the urge to go back to what was familiar, even if it wasn't right for you. And those moments, they are part of the process. They don't mean you're failing. They don't mean you're going backwards. They mean you're human. They mean you're healing, and healing is not linear. It doesn't move in a straight line. It moves in waves, moments of clarity followed by moments of confusion, moments of strength followed by moments of vulnerability. And that's okay. What matters is that you keep choosing to move forward, that you keep reminding yourself why you had to let go, why it was necessary for your growth, for your peace, for your future. And every time you make that choice, you get stronger. You create distance between you and what once held you back. You build a new version of yourself, a version that is no longer defined by the past, but by the present, by the choices you make now, by the direction you choose to go. And over time, those choices add up. They create change. They create transformation. They create a life that feels more aligned, more peaceful, more fulfilling. Point one day, you will look back at this phase of your life, and you will see it differently. You will see it not as a time of loss, but as a time of growth, not as a time of confusion, but as a time of transformation. You will realize that everything you went through, every moment of pain, every moment of doubt, every moment where you felt like giving up, it was all shaping you, preparing you, building you into someone stronger, someone wiser, someone more aligned with your true self. And you will be grateful, not because it was easy, not because it didn't hurt, but because it made you who you are. because it taught you what you needed to learn, because it showed you your strength, your resilience, your ability to keep going even when things were hard. And until you reach that moment, just keep going, keep healing, keep letting go, keep trusting that even if you don't see it yet, you are moving forward, you are growing, you are becoming exactly who you need to be, and everything you're going through right now, it's not the end, it's part of the journey, and one day, it will all make sense.